Hi everyone, my name is Maura Edmonds and I'm the Unit Coordinator of APG5456, Understanding Media Audiences. So in this short video, I'm going to introduce you to the subject, what we're here to do over the next 6 weeks, and how we plan on going about doing it. So this unit is a core within the Masters of Communication and Media Studies, and that is a degree which seeks to develop graduates with a kind of advanced and sophisticated understanding of media and communications, the fields, the key theories, the debates, the developments in the industry that affect them, and so on. But also, in addition to kind of learning about the discipline and the study of media and communications, what we're really interested in doing is exploring how you can take these ideas, this knowledge, these skills, out of the classroom and into your own media and communications practices. So throughout this unit, we will examine contemporary media audiences from a media and communications studies perspective, so a disciplinary perspective. Industry approaches tend to focus on measuring audiences, how many of them are there, and sorting them from what demographics are they coming from. But a critical media studies perspective is focused on understanding audiences. So we're interested in these three big questions. How do audiences, users and consumers, we'll use those a little bit interchangeably in this unit, how do they engage with the media? How are audiences evolving and changing? How can we research media audiences in order to know more about what they do, what they feel, and what they like? So in order to address these questions, I will introduce you each week to key methodologies of conducting kind of audience research. And I'll show you examples of recent empirical audience research that's been done. And the lectures will also introduce you to kind of key concepts and summarize important debates. But the aim of this unit is also to give you the skills to be able to take this theory and knowledge with you and use it in your future careers. So each week in class, you will be challenged to conduct your own audience research in the form of running focus group studies. You will learn hands-on how to conduct this very important, very practical research method, which is used widely in both academic spheres and also industry settings. I will also challenge you to conduct your own original analysis of media audiences, collecting and analysing data on the media audiences or practices that interest you most, preparing you to propose future research. I want you to have the skills to research audiences in ways that can inform, yes, scholarly interests, but also that can help you undertake important background research, necessary research that you might need to do in the future to perhaps design media and content, to design strategies and communications, to strategize ways of reaching and engaging new audiences, or maybe to test out the appeal or the impact of a potential media product or new content that you might be involved in producing. So each week over the coming 6 weeks, we will examine key concepts and debates within media and communications studies. Our focus here is very much on contemporary media audiences. So in the next lecture coming up, I will provide a brief history of approaches to media audiences, some of the kind of key insights from the history of doing this sort of research, but in the subsequent weeks and lectures, we will focus almost exclusively on contemporary issues, debates, and audiences. In addition, each week we spend some time unpacking a key research method. So coming up in topic 2, the active audience. This week we explore the concept of the active audience and how media industries cater to a desire for engagement. In topic 3, the social media self, this week we turn from the more intense behaviours of fans to kind of everyday media users and followers. The material this week examines everyday uses of social media and focuses on how we present, we filter, we format our real selves for social media and communities of followers. So a big focus on influencers and social media kind of content makers this week. In topic 4, users on the margin, this week we examine users who are often marginalized in terms of both media research, but also commercial kind of digital media systems. So we explore digital cultures and user behaviours in developing nations which experience many digital divides with limited or often unstable internet infrastructure. In topic 5, we revisit that old saying, if you don't pay for the product, you are the product. And so in this week, we will analyse the value of audience attention for advertisers and commercial media systems. And finally, in topic 6, we will consider key concepts and research approaches to studying audiences in an age of Netflix, Spotify, and so on, of recommendation, curation, customization, filtering, and personalization. There are 2 major pieces of assessment for this unit. The first is a research method, practice, and reflection. The purpose of this assessment is to deepen your understanding of key approaches to audience research throughout weekly class activities and a final written reflection. So it consists of kind of 3 small parts. There is weekly participation in classes, and that involves preparation, questions, discussions. So on this, merely showing up to class is not enough. You are required to write notes in response to the weekly class preparation questions that are made available at the start of the week in the pre-class lessons. Have them ready for the start of each tutorial, including week 1. You are also required to participate actively in class activities, including answering questions from the tutor and from your classmates, taking notes, reporting back on group conversations, and so on. The other main part of this is the focus group. So you will lead one week and participate in other weeks. So each week we will run practice focus groups. And focus group research is very common in academic spheres, in social and market research. And at the end of this unit, I want you to be really comfortable with what is required to do this form of research. So it's highly applicable to industry contexts, which is why I've chosen it as the method that I want us to feel most comfortable with at the end of this 6 weeks. So in small teams, you will lead one focus group session, and in other weeks, you will participate in them. Note on this is individually assessed, it's not group work. So in your teams, you will need to assign roles so that the team can effectively prepare questions, write a script relevant to the weekly topic, conduct the focus group in tutorials, summarize some notes and insights, and report back to the class at the end of the tutorial session. But in doing this, I also want you to have fun, right? You are not being judged on how well your group works, how good the data that you get is, and so on. But it's more about how prepared you are, how enthusiastic you are, and whether you can keep the focus group focused on the topic. Finally, there is a reflection. So you are asked to write a 600-word reflection about your engagement in the unit, including any insights you have or thoughts you have on conducting and participating in the focus groups. More details about this task and what's involved in writing a reflection are on Moodle for you to consult. And this is the process we will follow in the coming weeks when it comes to the focus groups. I won't run through this in detail now. You may like to pause the video and have a read through each of these steps. I'll spend a lot more time in tutorials kind of preparing you for what's involved in this focus group activity. There is also one other major piece of assessment this semester which you will develop over the coming 6 weeks. So your job is to design a small pilot audience research project that you can undertake over the coming 6 weeks. In this pilot research, we are going to study audience activities online with a view to how we would expand that into more empirical research with media audiences. So you are planning how you will do some initial research and think about how you might expand that into something more labor intensive, like running a focus group study or conducting a survey. So you are asked to develop a proposal for the initial research that you can carry out for the remainder of semester. And this is just a simple 1,000-word summary of what you plan to do, which is due at the end of week 3. You then need to write up the results of your pilot research proposal, what you found from your study, in the style of a short research report detailing your findings. You also, as part of that, need to include a script for a focus group research or a survey questionnaire. These are not included in the word count. So when it comes to this pilot research, you kind of have two options. So two main methods for gathering data that you have to choose from. The first is analysing audience responses to an article shared online. So this involves kind of identifying a major topic, something controversial or interesting that's been shared online on a news website perhaps, or a social media or message board, and you need to examine the replies and comments to that topic. So in this, you will be paying close attention to how these comments, replies, and so on reveal how media audiences feel or think about a specific issue, topic, or media product. So we're identifying a source of information about audiences which is already publicly available. And we're going to read that data in order to think about what we can find out about media audiences and their attitudes, how they think and feel about a specific issue, using those comments and replies which are already online. The second option you have, so you have to choose one, this is the second that you can choose from, is to analyze how audiences are behaving on social media. So in this, you will analyze social media posts by a user and replies from their followers which have been shared publicly, so no private accounts please, on a social media account. And so we're looking at not just posts but also replies. And in this approach, the data that we're gathering here, we're trying to pay close attention to how users and audiences are interacting and relating to each other online. So you'll find on Moodle a lot more information about this research project, including a number of topic ideas or templates that you can adapt to the media that you're interested in or the audiences that you're most interested in. So there's a couple of slides here with lots of different topics on them. They're also on Moodle. I recommend just maybe having a pause of the video and reading through these options here. Which of these most interests you? And so you'll work with your tutor in tutorials to kind of develop a project around which theme here interests you most and how you might tailor that to your specific interests. And so you do need to choose your topic, the data that you're going to collect by week 2, because your initial proposal is due at the end of week 3. That said though, you have an opportunity to revise your topic and your audience data based on the feedback that you get from that initial proposal. And here is how we will approach the learning material each week. We have 3-hour tutorials. Yes, that's right, 3 hours. So each week we will have time set aside in class for you to work on your projects under the supervision of your tutor. I want you to do the best work you can, supported with supervision from your tutor. Use this time in class wisely and effectively. Get the advice and the guidance from your tutors in this time. Do the best work you can with their support. Wherever possible, ask questions and seek help during tutorials. So you must come to class prepared to discuss the weekly topics, the readings, the discussion questions. And starting in week 2, you must come prepared to work on your major assessments and to participate in the focus groups. Alright, thanks for listening everyone. That's a quick tour through the main content, the topics and the assessment approaches that we're covering in this unit over the coming 6 weeks. Next up, the next lecture is the content lecture, which is going to introduce you to the history of approaching media audiences through media and communication studies.